Good afternoon, Grandview Heights. Jamie Lusher here with an update after our first full week of online instruction and distance learning. I want to thank everybody for all of their hard work and their patience. I want to also thank you for your feedback. We've received great feedback from our students, from our parents, and from our staff. We're taking that feedback to be able to improve and continue to shape and refine this experience for our students. So you will see some updates for next week as we transition into week 2, where we're hoping to refine and improve some things. So please take a look at those. Those are building specific, and you can also expect teachers and principals to be reaching out and communicating with you as well. Wanted to talk about 2 things. The first is time on task. Received a lot of questions from parents and just wanting to do the right thing and how much is too much, and my child is really struggling with, the device and how can I get them to orient to student learning. So just a couple of things. Every child is unique and different. You as your parent know that, right? So if you have multiple kids, you know that their rates of work, their characteristics, their disposition, again, are truly unique to them and them alone. And I would say the same to this process. When we give those guidelines of, time on task or learning activity is assigned, safeguard for your child's whole self. What I mean by that, if it's a pretty rote task and they're taking way too long, have them take a break. Work with them to complete it. Again, we want you to have the flexibility to be able to support them. We want students to be exposed to content, but we don't want them to be frustrated. And we certainly don't want the family dynamic to suffer as a result of the learning tasks that are assigned. So I would say a couple of things. One, again, you have the autonomy to be able to support that student and the whole child. Give them frequent breaks. When it's sunny out, change your schedule so they can be outside while it's sunny, and then you can do work later. Again, I think those are all just, times which you can pivot as a parent and honor where your child's needs truly lie. And sometimes that means the relationship and the whole child versus, an online session. The second question that I've had is around grading and how will we be assessing students' learning as a part of this process. And I will tell you that as a district, we do have a plan and we are looking forward to communicating that out, but want to make sure that we have the specifics in terms of what that looks and feels like for children. As you can imagine, that's a very delicate conversation when you think about students who may have a difficult time attending to technology and online learning experiences versus students that really might have a good grasp of this type of learning. So what I can assure you is that one, we recognize that this is a dynamic and challenging time for students and can be very difficult. 2, we recognize that students have worked really hard for 3 quarters to build whether a grade point average or to demonstrate, their skills in a particular content area or course, and we want to hold them harmless. Certainly they are victims of circumstance with some of this. So be looking for a very kid-centric approach to how we will assess student learning. As a parent, what I would say to my child who has some anxiety about grading is, just try to keep up and do your best. Show what you know so that you don't have any gaps, because we don't want you to lose your momentum or your stamina or the current skills that you have. If I'm a high-achieving AP student and I'm really concerned about my GPA, recognize that you have a high school staff and a principal and a chief academic officer that are going to support you with, at the very least, maintaining where you are in terms of your GPA and moving the needle. If I'm a student who has traditionally turned it on in the 4th quarter, recognize that we're going to try to support and help you to demonstrate what you know and to help you improve maybe in some areas where you've had that goal this year. So more to come, but just rest assured that those are kind of premature conversations to have at this time. We want to make sure that we transitioned a couple of weeks into this online learning experience and then be able to talk specifically about some of the evidence that we've captured and what that will look like in terms of an evidence-based grade and how we'll support students through that process. So have a great weekend. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other.